I feel so glowy. Like, I feel like if I wear this on multiple days in a row, people who know me personally might wonder if I'm with child, because I have like that pregnancy glow going on right now. That's how I feel like I look right now. Hey guys, I hope y'all are having a great day today. So we're going to be checking out another new skin tint that just dropped. This is the Huda Beauty Glowish Multidew Skin Tint. So per the usual, I'm going to show y'all how this applies, share with y'all my first impressions, and then we're going to be doing a wear test on this to see how and if it holds up on my oily skin. And we're also going to be checking out a bronzer that dropped with the skin tint. This is called the Soft Radiance Bronzing Powder. So we're going to check this out too. But the main focus for today is going to be the new skin tint. So before we get into these, if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by and welcome. My name is SonyaNicole and I post new videos here every week, including some stuff for us 40 and over makeup lovers. So if that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe while you're here today. I would love to have you join the channel and I would really appreciate your support. Okay, y'all, let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's start off with some of the details about the new skin tint. So this is fragrance free, thank God. This is a fragrance free light coverage skin tint that instantly brightens and gives your skin a dewy finish. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to work on my skin, because usually with oily skin, we're not interested in things with a dewy finish because we kind of have our own natural dew from our skin getting really oily during the day. We might want like a little radiance and a little bit of glow here and there, maybe some hydration, but I feel like hydration and dewy are kind of like two different things, kind of sort of, but I'm really curious to see how this is going to work for me. Some of the main ingredients in here are squalene, Damascus rose oil, and red bell pepper extract, and I think this is the first time I've come across a complexion product with red bell pepper extract, but that is meant to protect your skin against digital blue light. So this comes in 13 shades and I picked up the shade Tan 08. It comes in a very frosted bottle, which I'm not a big fan of because you can't really see like the real like true color of the product, but we'll see that in a minute when I swatch it and of course when I try it on my face. But Tan 08 is for tan skin with golden neutral undertones, and like I said, it comes in 13 shades. So the whole idea behind a skin tint is that the shade range is going to be smaller than a foundation range, because these are meant to give your skin just a tint. It's supposed to kind of like blend in with your skin, so one shade is supposed to cater to a bunch of different skin tones. I notice with skin tints that I usually don't have like a perfect match. I have a good enough match that I can make work, but not a perfect match like I might have in a foundation. So that's the only downside about having skin tints. But the reason I picked this particular one, in case you're watching me for the first time, I usually go for foundations that have cool pink undertones, and I decided to pick this. It has a golden neutral undertone. So golden can kind of work for me as long as it's not yellow, but I definitely can't use something that's olivey or yellow. If it's running golden or maybe reddish, I can work with that. So I just felt like this one was my best bet. Tan 07, just in case you can use me as a shade reference, Tan 07 is neutral, and I've noticed especially with skin tints but also with foundations, if I tend to go with a neutral undertone, it's just not enough cool undertone in there because it's neutral. It's like a balance of both, so I decided to go with golden neutral. So before we get into the application, I just wanted to show you guys, because I know some of you really like packaging. I think the packaging on this is really cute. I'm hoping that y'all can make out the iridescence on the cap there. And then, like I said, it is a frosted bottle, but I like the fact that it's like one of these like soft tubes instead of like the hard plastic or the glass. And then the pump is actually iridescent as well. So I think that's really cute. So let's start off with a hand swatch of the shade Tan 08. Oh yeah, and I can see, ooh, it's like thick. It's thicker than I was expecting. So I can see the dew in there. I'm sure you guys can see it as well, and it's like much thicker than I was expecting. I guess because it's a skin tint, I was just expecting, you know, like lighter coverage, but this is like a good amount of coverage, and I do think that this shade will work for me. I'm just I don't know, this coverage level looks like more than what I would like to see in a skin tint, but we'll see how this works out. Okay, so I zoomed y'all in a little bit. So I don't wear foundation primer, so I just have my moisturizer slash sunscreen on right now. And based on how the product swatched on my hand, I think I'm going to apply this with a damp sponge, because it doesn't say in the description that this product is buildable, but that's how I like to apply my complexion products. I like to start off with a little bit and then build on top of it if I think I need to. That'll prevent me from putting too much of the product on. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but my sunscreen is already giving me some glow on my face. So we're gonna see like how much of a glow I actually get from this. It does say a radiant finish, so that's what I'm expecting. So I'm gonna start off with, that was a very generous pump that I got on my hand. So I'm gonna start off with like a half a pump. Let me put on a little bit more because I feel like that's not really a whole lot of product. So I'm gonna start off with about that much. And this is the EcoTools Bio Blender sponge that I'll be using today. And I would say right off the bat, it says light coverage, and I feel like I'm getting, it's definitely like, it's light coverage, but it's still like more coverage than I was expecting. And I can definitely see the radiant finish. Like, that's like the most noticeable thing to me so far. Like, looks like in the camera it's like really radiant right up in here. It looks very, very radiant. Okay, so I would say that this is about maybe a little bit more than a half a pump over here versus nothing over here. So I feel like y'all can really tell the difference on camera, that this definitely gives a radiant finish. In terms of like the level of coverage, I do like it. Like I said, I think I'm getting like a little more coverage than I was expecting, but for this to be a skin tint, I do think I like the level of coverage that it's giving me. So let me know what y'all think so far. I feel like I am just like super radiant over here. All right, let me go in on the other side. I'm gonna put about the same amount over here, and then even though it doesn't say that it is buildable, I'm gonna test that out too. So after I blend out over here, I'll go back on this side and add some more so we can compare that. I never tried the Fenty body sauce, but I feel like this is basically that product but for your face. So if you tried the body sauce from Fenty and this, let me know if y'all would agree with that. Yeah, this is like really, really radiant. One thing I forgot to mention, it does say in the description that you can wear it all over for a sheer coverage and an all over glow, or you can apply this along with your foundation for a dewy boost, or you can put some of this on your cheekbones for a natural radiant highlight. And I mean, I like this. It is nice and glowy, but I think it might be more suitable for me for something like a cheek highlight as opposed to all over, but we'll see, because I am going to set this with powder and we'll see how that tones it down, or if it tones it down. Okay, so here we are with pretty much like one layer all over my face. As I'm looking at this, now that I have it all over my face, my first impression is it's just a whole lot of glow going on, like too much for my liking. I feel like I am like really just like overly radiant right now, if that makes sense. Like, I can't wait to tone this down with powder because I just think I'm just too glowy. But for the sake of like really giving this product a try, I am going to put on a little more, because I do want to see if it does build up, if you can get any more coverage out of this, for those of you who may be interested in that. So I'm going to put on a little bit more. And I always test to see if products are buildable. Like, I always test that right on the cheek area, because that's where I have like the most blemishes and stuff on my face. Okay, so this is pretty much like a pump of product over here versus like a half a pump over here. So I do think that I am getting more coverage over here. It did cover up some more of the stuff on my cheeks, but there is still some stuff peeking through even with adding some more on. I mean, it's buildable, but you're definitely not going to get like medium full coverage out of this, but you know, that's not the intent. So just to make things even, I'm going to put another half a pump over here. I feel so glowy. Like, I feel like if I wear this on multiple days in a row, people who know me personally might wonder if I'm with child, because I have like that pregnancy glow going on right now. That's how I feel like I look right now. Okay, so this is basically a pump on each side of my face. So let me know what y'all think. The more and more I have this on my face, like the more it's like settling in. I'm not liking it because it just looks too iridescent to me. Like, I might feel differently when I go ahead and set this with powder, but it looks very iridescent, like very, it just looks a little off to me because of the iridescence. It almost looks like, you know how when you wear a skin tint or maybe like an SPF that has like that cast, that leaves the cast on your face. That's kind of like what I'm seeing. Maybe it's because of the undertone, I don't know, but it just looks super iridescent, and I'm just, it looks off to me. So let me know what y'all think. Okay, I'm gonna quickly do my eye makeup and my concealer. I'll speed through that and then we'll come back and we'll set the makeup. I think I'll just set one side of the face so that we can compare that. I'm really dying to set this because I just feel like the glow is just all over the place. So let me do my makeup, my eye makeup and concealer, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I decided to do a like toned down matte eye look because I felt like I had enough glow going on my face. I do like my face better now that I've put concealer on, because right up in here is one of the areas where I thought I was looking like super glowy, so the concealer kind of covered that. So I think my face looks better, but I'm still not really liking it like all in here, pretty much everywhere where I can still see the skin tint, because I do think it is still pulling a little iridescent, but just not as much as it was before I put the concealer on. So next I'm going to set this. I'm going to start off with setting just one side of my face so that we can see the difference. So I'm going to be using my staple setting powder. This is the Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. I forgot to set my concealer. Hold on one second. I'm going to set my concealer with this really quickly. This is the L'Oreal True Match powder. Okay, now I'm going to set the rest of my face with my Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. This one is in the shade Tan. Okay, so I'm just going to set this one side of my face first. And I'm putting on just a light dusting of powder because, I mean, this is meant to be dewy, so I don't want to like completely take away the dew. I'm really just trying to cover up that iridescence. So, okay, this side of my face is set with powder, a light dusting of powder, and then this side of my face doesn't have any powder on it yet. So let me know if y'all can see a difference. This one to me definitely looks better because it's just like, my face doesn't look like, I don't know, silvery over here. I just really see like, you know, like a silver cast going on over here. I definitely like it better when I set it. So I have oily skin, so I would set this anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face, and then we will move on to the bronzer. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better when I set it. And I think that this foundation is so dewy that I can still see some glow coming through, but I didn't put on a whole lot of powder. And one of the reasons I like using this to set my face, this is a baked powder foundation, but because it's baked, I feel like it doesn't like cake onto your face. It's just going to really give you just like a light dusting of coverage over your liquid foundation. But I think I can still see a little radiance peeking through the powder, but it definitely calmed that iridescence down a little bit. Okay, so moving on to the bronzer. I usually don't like trying out any other new products along with a complexion product. I like to stick with my staples so I can really see how they react with that. But these were kind of meant to work in tandem, so I am going to make an exception on today, and we're also going to try this bronzer out. Okay, so this is called the Glowish Soft Radiance Bronzing Powder. It's supposed to be transfer proof, non-drying, and have a velvety finish to give you a natural looking tan with subtle luminosity, and we definitely need subtle to go along with this skin tint. It comes in 5 different shades, and I have the shade 04 Deep Tan, so that's what this one looks like. It definitely looks lighter than I thought, because when I kept looking at the picture of this, I was thinking maybe it's going to be too red because it looked really red in the picture, but I actually like the way this one looks. So I'm gonna start off with applying this on my cheeks. So usually I put my blush on before my bronzer, but because I thought that this was gonna be more red than it is, I was thinking when I test this out, maybe this could be my bronzer slash blush, and I'm still gonna try it out that way. So I'm not gonna put on blush just yet because I may not put on blush at all. And I usually put bronzer on my forehead first, but I also want to, just in case this does come out like really red, I want to put it on my cheeks first, and then that'll let me know if I feel like I need to go in with another shade up here. Okay. I only put on a little bit of this, but I'm really liking it. I really like this. Okay, I am gonna go on my forehead with this. I mean, I just put this on, but I can already tell that I'm gonna be reaching for this bronzer quite a bit. This is really nice. I think it's like the perfect level of warmth for me. Like sometimes I definitely like bronzers that run red as opposed to golden, but sometimes I feel like they can be a little too red, actually a little too warm, but this is like perfect. I really like this. And because it is so subtle, like I feel like I'm packing it on, but it doesn't look like it because the formula is nice and smooth. It's nice and velvety. So it's just like melting into my skin. When I say velvety, it's not as smooth and velvety as something like the Charlotte Tilbury matte bronzer, if you're familiar with that. But this one is really nice. I think I have a new favorite bronzer. All right, I'm also gonna put a little bit of this down the center of my nose. I'm not the best at applying bronzer on the nose, but after I do that, I like to take whatever I use to apply my foundation and just pounce right back over the bronzer just to soften it back out, just so it doesn't look so harsh. This bronzer is really nice. I think instead of putting blush on though, I'm gonna just build it up just a little bit where I would normally put my blush. I like to put my blush like kind of like right behind the apples of my cheeks. Yeah, I like this. Okay, I'm gonna finish up my makeup. I'm just gonna throw on some mascara, eyeliner, and lipstick, and then we'll come back and we'll start the wear test. Okay, here's my makeup for today. So before we start the wear test, just to give you all my first impression on this I'm not too crazy about because I think it only looks good after I set it with a powder and it gets rid of all of that iridescence. But I think if you're looking for something that will really give you that nice glow, you might like this. But I think for me, the next time I try this, I am gonna have to either use it as like a spot liquid highlighter on the high points of my cheeks, or I might use this and like mix it in with another foundation, but just on its own it's just a little too glowy, a little too iridescent for me. However, we don't know how this is going to wear yet, but just how it looked when I first applied it, this wouldn't be something that I would reach for to wear like just on its own. This bronzer, however, I started not to get this because I said to myself, I already have a couple of new bronzers and I'm starting to get like product overload and I just don't need this. But I'm so happy I got this because I love this bronzer. I think this is going to be like my new favorite bronzer. But again, we're going to be testing this out too, even though we're focusing on the skin tint. So those are my first impressions. So let's do a wear test and we'll see what we're looking like a little bit later on. It's going on 4:30 in the afternoon, so I'll be back a little bit later on. Okay, y'all, I am back. It is going on 9 o'clock, so I think that puts us at about a like a 4.5 hour wear test. So this is what we are looking like after about 4.5 hours of wear. So let me know what y'all think. So I'm not liking what I'm seeing. So I'm definitely more shiny, especially in the T-zone area. So normally whenever I'm wearing a foundation that I really like and it starts to get oily on me, it's more noticeable in my T-zone than the rest of my face. And I feel like that's the case with this one, but I do think that I look shiny pretty much everywhere, but that's due in large part to the finish of this foundation. It is supposed to be dewy, it's supposed to be radiant, so that's definitely what it's giving me. And I do think that I am more shiny in the T-zone. I just zoomed y'all in a little bit. But the main thing, like I feel like up here, the foundation looks okay. I just need to blot, which is what I'm going to do in a little bit. But the main thing that I'm having an issue with is that the foundation is wearing kind of funny, like around my mouth, particularly under like my lower lip on the chin area, but like all up in here, it's just sitting weird. It's like, I guess it's like caking up a little bit, and it looks very different down here than it does over, you know, on the rest of my face. And I did already edit some of this video, so I already know that what I am seeing in my mirror is not really coming off on camera. So I talked a lot about the iridescence, and I feel like on camera it just looks maybe a little shiny. So let me know if y'all can see like that iridescent look that I was talking about, because I can still see it, particularly around my mouth. But because the foundation is sitting kind of like cakey, like it kind of looks like, I can't explain it, like cakey iridescence. I guess that's the only way that I can explain it. It's just sitting like very weird around my mouth. But the last thing that we're going to do is blot the excess oil and then repowder. I just want to see what it looks like, especially up here, because I think it looks okay up here. It's just, you know, a little shiny. And it's only been 4.5 hours. I usually am able to go longer when I'm testing out a complexion product. I usually like to go for about 8 hours, but normally when I'm wearing foundation, I mean, as long as it can get me to like maybe 6 hours of wear, that's really all I look for, because I'm usually only wearing like a full face of makeup for more like special occasions and stuff. But I think this type of foundation is meant to be more of like an everyday type wear. So if I were to wear this, it might be something that I would have on a little bit longer if I'm like, you know, wearing it to work or something like that. But okay, so this is what the makeup looks like after I've blotted off the excess oil, and as expected, that has really toned a lot of stuff down. But I feel like now that I have toned it down, I do think the luminescence or the iridescence is a lot more noticeable around my mouth. So let me know if y'all can see what I am talking about. So I'm going to repowder. I'm going to go right back in with my Sephora powder, and I like to do this just so that we can see, you know, if you do wear this makeup and you do have to refresh it and repowder during the day, does it look like you just applied your makeup? Okay, I just pulled my hair back so we can really see, because I feel like now that I have powdered my face, it looks a lot better. It definitely looks, you know, more refreshed, but especially around my mouth, like it looks a lot better now that I've repowdered, which is weird because to me, like before I powdered it, it looked cakey. So I would think like adding more powder, and I only added a little bit, but adding more might add to the cakiness, but it toned it down. So it's really hard for me to kind of convey what I'm trying to say, but it's like that cakiness that I saw had a lot to do with like that radiance, that iridescence. It wasn't caking up, it just looked like that because of the way it was reflecting light, if that makes sense. But it just looked a lot better now to me around my mouth now that I have repowdered. So just to wrap everything up and give y'all my final thoughts on these two products, unfortunately this did not work out for me as a foundation, but I'm not to the point where I want to return it. I actually do want to try this again, but I think I want to try it more so as a cheek highlight. Maybe I'll try mixing it in with a couple of matte foundations that are coming to mind, but I think I want to try this as a cheek highlight just to see how I like it like that. But this is not something that I would reach for to wear as a foundation on its own. Just remember though that I have oily skin, so if you have normal to dry skin, and if you're always looking for something to add some glow and some radiance to your skin, you might do very well with this. But for me and my oily skin, it just did not work out today. And y'all probably already know by now how I feel about this bronzer. I still really like it. I will say though that it did dissipate on my face. It's not quite as strong as it was when I first applied it, but even when I first applied it, it was like giving me some warmth, but it was really subtle at the same time, which is what it's supposed to do. But it does look like it faded away a little bit, but I would still wear this. Like I think I'm gonna be reaching for this like the next few times that I do my makeup, because usually when I'm wearing a full face, I don't really need for my makeup to last for a very long time anyway. Like it's very rare that I'm wearing a full face of makeup for like 10-12 plus hours anyway. So yes, this did fade a little bit, but it's been a few hours and I can still see it. So I do really like this. So those are my final thoughts on these two products. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought. Do you have these, or are you thinking about picking them up? And also let me know what you thought about the video. If you liked the video, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up, and make sure y'all are subscribed before you head out, and I will see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.